My greetings to everyone present here. Honorable Governor of Kerala, Shri Mohammad Khan, you all enormously benefited out of his erudite address, knowledge of culture and depth of it. Shri J. Nand Kumar ji, National Convener, Praja Parva, his address was rightly appreciated by the Honorable Governor, indicating that he would have very little to add. If I go by that yardstick, after you have had intellectual feast of two great addresses by eminent personalities who have risen the ladder through hard work and have national and international recognition, for sure, I would have very little to add. Dr. R. Ramanand, Director, distinguished audience, it's a privilege for me, an honor for me, because we live in a society, we believe in our culture, we believe in our civilizational ethos. Recognition of scholarship, recognition of scholars indicates depth of our civilization. This recognition is the spinal strength of our society, and it helps us grow holistically. What is more important is that recognition must be of scholarship, of scholars in authentic manner. It is very satisfying and gratifying to note that the two eminent scholars who are being honored today is indeed an honor to the society. It is honor to all of us. They are being honored for a real good work they have done, connecting North and East, rediscovering our civilizational depth. I congratulate both the scholars for their service to humanity and particularly to the subject to which they are wedded. My congratulations. I take the opportunity to invite both the distinguished scholars to be my guests at Indian Parliament. The new building of Parliament, friends, reflects depth of our civilization. You'll find it, sir, very, very satisfying. And I'm sure Nand Kumar ji will catalyze it at the earliest occasion. After you have heard the Honorable Governor and Nand Kumar ji, I thought to be little more relevant, I must take recourse to my profession. I therefore would be reading a part of a Supreme Court judgment that was rendered about 30 years ago on the relevance of Sanskrit language. But that judgment reflects on culture, importance of culture. I quote, this is from the judgment of the Supreme Court, authored by Justice Ansaria. A professor of Cambridge University is deeply engrossed in his studies in his calm chamber. An agitated English soldier enters the study room and accuses the professor in not sharing the trauma of war which he said many others like him are facing while fighting Germans. Imagine the pain of the soldier being expressed to the professor by getting into a chamber. Further, I quote, the professor calmly asks the young soldier, for whom is he fighting for? Quick comes the reply that it is to defend his country. The wise man, that is the professor, the wise man, I continue to quote, wants to know what is that country to defend. which he is prepared to shed his blood? The soldier replies, it is the territory and its people. On further questioning, the soldier says, it is not only this, but the culture of the country which he wants to defend. The professor quietly states that he is contributing to that culture. The soldier calms down and bows down in respect to the professors and vows to defend with more vigor the cultural heritage of his country. Unquote. Friends, this quote from the Supreme Court captures the essence of what culture is. If a civilization is to thrive, its culture has to thrive. A nation is known not by its boundaries, by its infrastructure, though these are important, but by depth of its culture. I am therefore so glad and happy to note that this incident, this event, this momentous occasion celebrates two of the great scholars, extraordinary scholars, wedded to a particular cause. My congratulations. Friends, what a coincidence. Three important events have taken place today, are taking place. My greetings to all of you for Mahashivratri, an important occasion, very important occasion. And second, International Women's Day. And look at the background just few months ago. On Kartavya Path, on 75th Republic Day, what did we witness? We witnessed power of our women, women-led development. And on this great day comes a soothing news, and more soothing to the chairman of Rajya Sabha, a position which I hold by virtue of being Vice President of the country, Dr. Sudha Murthy, an illustrious woman, dedicated to social progress, committed to development of vulnerable sections of society, has been nominated by President of India, herself a woman, a tribal woman, to be nominated member of Rajya Sabha. This marks that our country is changing for the better. This event, this nomination indicates we are on the right track. Friends, I am humbled by the sublimity of the occasion. Kashmiri Shaiv tradition is being celebrated in the holy land of Adi Shankaracharya, a great unifier of spirit and idea of Bharat. RAJANAKA awards, with respect to which the Honorable Governor reflected very exhaustively, I would still call, with respect to him, RAJANAKA awards. Ancient title symbolizing the union of power and wisdom honors scholars of Kashmiri Shaivism and celebrates the enduring intellectual and spiritual unity of India. The honor that has been bestowed today on Dr. Mark Diskovsky and Dr. Navjivan Rastogi is not an honor to them. It is an honor to all of us that we are honoring them. It is honor on us that we have the occasion and privilege to honor these people for their outstanding contributions. Congratulations to Abhinav Gupta Institute of Advanced Studies. It is not easy, friends, to work in a field which is so difficult. You have to work against headwinds. You have to work against challenges. I am so happy to note that the Institute has really engaged in reviving the age-old linkage that was marked by Adi Shankaracharya's journey to Kashmir by bringing Trika Darshan of Kashmir, Shaivism, back to Kerala. Not an easy task. I congratulate everyone associated with this institute on this great accomplishment. This eminent institution promotes advanced studies and research striving towards the revival of indigenous intellectual traditions and ancient knowledge systems, the crucial aspects of India's resurgence. Friends, culture is the most impactful unifying force, not only for a country but for the entire world. If we get involved with culture seriously all over the globe, we will find peace and harmony. Culture is ultimate intellect. Culture is embellishment of a society that distinguishes itself from others. Culture is compassion. Culture is tolerance. Culture is subtlety. Culture is enrichment of human soul. And when an institute is engaged in this direction, we can only commend them. They exemplify the need of the hour, and their success is our success. Friends, our nation's 5,000-year-old civilizational ethos has always been infused with the spiritual oneness, transcending diversities. Not many people are aware, because the constitution which boys and girls read in law colleges, or the constitution which lawyers use in courts, does not contain a very fundamental part of Indian constitution, and that is 20 and odd miniatures. If you look at the constitution signed actually by members of the Constituent Assembly, you will find these miniatures reflecting our 5,000-year-old civilizational ethos. From Gurukul, Indus Valley, Ramayana, the scene in part 3 of the Constitution, fundamental rights. What does it have? It has Ram, Lakshmana, and Sita coming back to Ayodhya. If we go to directive principles of state policy, what do we find? Lord Krishna giving his discourse and advice to Arjuna at Kurukshetra, and so on. Friends, our ageless unity is reflected in our one of the often missed aspects, and this is there in the Constitution. Friends, the event in Kerala with its 13 Kali temples is still following Kashmir Shaivism exemplifies the deep integration of India's spirit from Kashmir to Kerala. It also underlines the age-old intellectual interactions between Kashmir and Kerala. Friends, it is vital to explore and rediscover our traditional knowledge systems, combating prejudices against them. There are some people, I would call them cynical. They are recipe for chaos. They raise questions, and those questions have to be negated by us. Dismissing our traditional knowledge as unscientific, archaic, without study, is a reflection only of a prejudice that lacks knowledge, understanding of culture, born out of ignorance, and not a desire to learn the right things. Such prejudice against Indian knowledge and Indian knowledge systems in certain sections of academic discourse is contrary to the concept of modern scientific temper. Let me invite, friends, your attention to our constitutional prescriptions. If we go to fundamental duties, or we go to directive principles of state policy, you will find there is prominence given to culture, our heritage, and the need to preserve it. When we speak in our constitution, equitable distribution of wealth, that for ages has been our cultural essence. As a matter of fact, it was nectar of our civilization. But I must share with you a great concern of the times. And the concern is that we are living in times when iconic status is granted to people on basis which are baffling. We don't question why they are called so. And these iconic figures trade on ignorance of the people, monetizing their ignorance to gain mileage. Time has come when we must deeply analyze, and this is a befitting occasion. No soul in 1.4 billion will have a second thought on the recognition we have bestowed today. In recent times, we have seen that our civilian awards, the Padma Awards, after they are given to people who are not known in society, there is one response. It has been given to the right people. Mr. Rastogi is one such person. I therefore call upon you that we must question, probe, that those who have been given iconic status by media, by event management, and otherwise, and who day in and day out try to set afloat narratives that seek to run down our civilization, our constitutional institutions, that decry our growth, we must neutralize them. In this scenario, this Institute of Advanced Studies is doing a path-breaking job. And I'm sure other institutes will come forward that in their domains of concern, we pick up people who merit it. The moment we honor those who need to be honored, we'll conclude we are honoring our society at large. Friends, a society grows on certain premise. A society cannot grow when you have dens of corruption. A society cannot grow when you have privileged pedigree. A society cannot grow when we are economically sliding down. A society can never grow when young impressionable minds lose hope. And look at the scenario the country has today. There can't be a more upbeat mood in the country. Our young people, bright minds, impressionable minds today can avail any opportunities because our society today is governed by rule of law, level playing field, equality of law. There can be no democratic value. There can be no survival of culture if there is not equality before law. There are no equal opportunities for all. If some people think they are more privileged as of right, they have right to a position of power, an opportunity, a government job or a contract, then you have a culture where deserving are being deprived. That culture, which was bane of our society for long, is now a matter of past. And therefore, an ideal platform for our culture to grow. The second important facet which is fundamental to growth of culture is this society free from corruption? All of you must have seen a time when nothing could be transacted without greasing hands of some. The middlemen, the liaison agents, the power corridors were controlled by them. They were tight control. And now that is a matter of the past. Look at my third point. We are on path of progress. The country is on the rise as never before. The rise is unstoppable. Thanks to the hard work of our people, farmers, those in industry and trade, government policies, visionary leadership, that we are already now third global purchasing power. In terms of global economy, we are fifth. We are ahead of Canada, UK, and France. Matter of time, in 2-3 years, we'll be the third largest global economy, ahead of Japan and Germany. I'm saying so for this, that this is the right time for our culture to really develop. It was absolutely amazing, satisfying experience to me that G20, when the Honorable Prime Minister received the foreign guests, look at the backdrop, Konark Temple. The entire world came to see it. And when the heads of states walked through the gallery, they witnessed our 5,000-year-old civilization. And that is what has changed India. Culture, according to me, friends, is a very important facet of diplomacy. It is most effective diplomatic weapon. I have seen it myself. When you go to some countries, the connect is generated by the cultural relationships you have had. So that is the aspect I had indicated. Come to the next point I indicated. Our recognition is not self-acclaimed. Accolades for our development, accolades for our economic rise are emanating from world organizations, International Monetary Fund, World Bank, World Economic Forum. What I mean to say, right now is the right time, so that we need to be deeply wedded and involved with our cultural ethos. Let us spare some time to see that our cultural values flourish and blossom. Look around the globe. Not many countries can boast of civilization depth of 500 years, 1,000 years, or 2,000 years. But here is a country home to 1/6 of humanity, where the cultural depth is more than 5,000 years. The entire world rejoiced when we had consecration of Ram Mandir at Ayodhya. The entire world. We demonstrated two things. One, we believe in our cultural identity. At the same time, we believe in legal regime. And that is why it has been the most acceptable development, bringing an end to 5 centuries of excruciating pain. When we look around, what has happened in our country? Look at infrastructure growth, rail, road, connectivity. It has been transformed beyond imagination. And when we come to other aspects, our digital penetration is one of the best in the world. Our platforms, like UPI, are being adopted by other nations. But all this is in terms of infrastructure, in terms of economy. But human peace, peace of soul, satisfaction, inner growth comes when you resonate with culture. I am sure we will spare time to devote more on our culture. And I know the depth of it. As Governor State of West Bengal, I headed Eastern Zone Culture Center. And I can say I was so ignorant about it. In the process, I had to deal with not only West Bengal, but 8 other states. So I urge young minds, I call upon corporates, I call upon academia, that while they must focus on matters of moment, They must never ignore our cultural wealth. They must never ignore that our cultural wealth has not only to be preserved, not only to be sustained, it has to grow and blossom. Friends, I am happy and delighted to be amidst all of you. I know Mr. Nandkumarji for more than 2 decades. He is a very learned man. I've heard him always with rapt attention. Every word he spoke today was so well prepared, so thorough, and full of depth. I have no doubt when such talented people are associated with an institute of this repute, the object of the institute is bound to be optimally achieved. My best wishes to all of you. Once again, greetings to all on Mahashivratri, and to the women in particular, International Women's Day. India is the epicenter of woman-led empowerment. You cannot imagine what a milestone achievement it was in September 2023, when 1/3 reservation was given to women in Lok Sabha and state legislatures. So be prepared. Our culture will be in safe hands because women will be more and more involved with policy making. Thank you so much. I am grateful for your time.